Men holding hands. 21 reasons why Gemini is the most hated zodiac sign. Why does everyone hate Gemini? If you're a Gemini or have ever interacted with one, you probably know how their personality can drive people crazy. But have you ever wondered why Gemini is actually the most hated zodiac sign? Their unpredictability, unfiltered sarcasm, and quick wit make them one of the most controversial signs in astrology. Today, we're diving into the real reasons why people can't seem to handle Gemini. But before we begin, comment your zodiac sign and birth date below. I'll be reading your comments. Now, let's get started with the first reason why Gemini gets such a bad reputation. 21. Gemini's unpredictability drives people crazy. Trying to pin down a Gemini is like trying to catch the wind. Their nature is constantly shifting, making it impossible to predict their next move. While some people thrive in chaos, others find Gemini's ever-changing moods and decisions exhausting. Their love for change makes them engaging conversationalists, but it also leaves many feeling unsteady in their presence. Personal insight: I once had a Gemini friend who would plan a weekend trip, cancel at the last minute, and then reschedule it the following week as if nothing happened. While exciting, it was incredibly frustrating for those who valued reliability. 20. Their sarcasm can be brutally annoying. Gemini's quick wit and sarcasm come naturally to them, but not everyone appreciates their sharp tongue. They often don't realize when their jokes cross the line, leaving people feeling hurt or embarrassed. What feels playful to a Gemini might seem cruel to others. Story example: imagine you're having a serious conversation, and a Gemini responds with, "Oh sure," because that's the worst thing that could ever happen. If you're sensitive, this can feel dismissive, even if they meant no harm. 19. They operate at lightning speed. Geminis are always on the go, expecting everyone to keep up with their fast-paced energy. Whether it's work, socializing, or even talking, they move at a speed that can be overwhelming. Psychological insight: this trait stems from their ruling planet, Mercury, which governs communication and speed. While it makes them great multitaskers, it also makes them impatient with slower-moving people. 18. Emotional detachment makes relationships hard. While Geminis can be affectionate, their struggle with emotional depth makes long-term relationships difficult. They value excitement and spontaneity over routine emotional connections, which can leave partners feeling unfulfilled. Example: you might be pouring your heart out about a tough day, only to have your Gemini partner say, "You'll get over it." It's not that they don't care, but deep emotional discussions often bore them. 17. Their charm can be deceptive. Geminis know how to win people over effortlessly, but their love for variety often means they don't stay interested for long. Many people feel misled when they realize Gemini's charm doesn't always translate to long-term commitment. Conclusion: is Gemini really that bad? 16. Gemini's independence can feel like rejection. Geminis are fiercely independent. They have a natural ability to rely on themselves, which is a strength, but it often leaves others feeling unimportant. People in relationships with Geminis may struggle with the fact that they don't need constant emotional reassurance. Example: imagine planning a big event for a Gemini partner, only to have them shrug and say, "That's nice, but I could have managed just fine without it." While they appreciate the effort, they rarely express dependency, making their partners feel like an afterthought. 15. The Gemini duality is confusing. One of the most famous traits of a Gemini is their duality. They can switch from being warm and affectionate to cold and distant in the blink of an eye. This inconsistency can make relationships with them feel like an emotional roller coaster. Personal insight: I had a Gemini colleague who would be incredibly supportive one moment, and then completely indifferent the next. It wasn't intentional, it was just the way their mind worked. But for those who seek stability, this constant shifting is exhausting. 14. Gemini prefers emotional stimulation over material possessions. While many zodiac signs find comfort in wealth and possessions, Geminis tend to seek emotional and intellectual stimulation instead. This can make them seem detached from material success, which some people interpret as impractical or unrealistic. Psychological insight: this trait is tied to their air element, making them naturally drawn to ideas and experiences rather than status or belongings. While this can be refreshing, it can also create misunderstandings in relationships, especially with those who value traditional measures of success. 13. The social butterfly Gemini can overshadow others. Geminis thrive in social settings. Their charisma and communication skills make them the center of attention, which can leave others feeling overlooked. While their social nature is engaging, it can also make friends and partners feel left behind. Example: a Gemini at a party might spend the entire evening bouncing from conversation to conversation, leaving their date or friend feeling like an accessory rather than a priority. 12. Spontaneity can lead to reckless decisions. Geminis love spontaneity, but this trait can sometimes backfire. They act on impulse, often without considering the consequences. While this makes life exciting, it can also create unnecessary chaos and strain relationships. Story: I once knew a Gemini who, on a whim, decided to quit their job and move across the country. While it worked out for them, their loved ones were left feeling blindsided and abandoned by the lack of discussion or planning. 11. Gemini women are hard to impress. Gemini women are often seen as elusive because they know exactly what they want. They are not easily swayed by traditional gestures or flattery. Their high standards make them one of the hardest signs to win over, leading to frustration from those who seek their affection. Conclusion: Gemini, misunderstood or truly difficult. Geminis are often perceived as one of the most difficult zodiac signs. But is it really that simple? While their unpredictability, independence, and social dominance can be overwhelming, they are also deeply intellectual, engaging, and open-minded. Instead of frustration, perhaps understanding their nature is the key to embracing their presence in your life. 10. Gemini's jokes can cross the line. Geminis have a sharp wit and love making people laugh, but sometimes their humor can come across as harsh or insensitive. Their jokes may be too sarcastic or cutting, making others feel uncomfortable or even hurt. Example: a Gemini might make a joke about a friend's insecurities without realizing how deeply it affects them. While they see it as harmless fun, the recipient may not take it the same way. 9. They are masters of mixed signals. Geminis are known for their inconsistency, often sending mixed signals in relationships and friendships. They might express deep interest in someone one day and then appear indifferent the next. Personal insight: I once knew a Gemini who would text enthusiastically one moment, and then disappear for days without explanation. It left people feeling confused and unsure of where they stood. 8. Gemini's restlessness makes them unreliable. Geminis crave excitement and change, which means they often struggle with follow-through. Their short attention span and desire for new experiences can make them seem unreliable. Psychological insight: their ruling planet, Mercury, makes them mentally quick, but also prone to distraction. While this trait makes them great at adapting, it also means commitments can be difficult for them to keep. 7. They can be overly argumentative. Geminis love debate and discussion, but their enthusiasm for intellectual sparring can make them come across as argumentative or combative. They enjoy playing devil's advocate, which can frustrate those who just want a straightforward conversation. Example: a Gemini might disagree with someone just to test their reasoning, rather than because they actually hold that opinion. This can be exhausting for those who prefer harmony over constant discussion. 6. Their emotions can flip instantly. One minute a Gemini is on top of the world, and the next they seem completely disengaged. Their emotional shifts can make it difficult for others to predict how they'll react in different situations. Story: I once had a Gemini friend who was laughing and joking one moment, then completely detached and uninterested the next. It wasn't personal, they just experience emotions in rapid cycles. 5. Routine feels like a trap to Gemini. Geminis thrive on novelty and excitement, which makes repetitive tasks and routines feel suffocating to them. They get bored easily and often seek out new challenges, making them restless in relationships and jobs that require long-term consistency. Example: a Gemini might start a new hobby with enthusiasm, only to abandon it weeks later when something new catches their interest. This trait can make them seem non-committal to those who prefer stability. 4. They can be emotionally detached. Despite their sociable nature, Geminis can struggle with deep emotional connections. They often intellectualize feelings rather than expressing them, making it hard for others to truly connect with them on an emotional level. Psychological insight: Geminis value mental stimulation over emotional depth, which can make them appear detached or uninterested in deeper emotional conversations. 3. Gemini's positivity can seem dismissive. While being optimistic is generally a good trait, Gemini's upbeat nature can sometimes make them seem dismissive of serious issues. They tend to brush off problems rather than sit with uncomfortable emotions. Example: if a friend is going through a tough time, a Gemini might say, "Don't worry, everything will work out," without fully acknowledging the depth of the struggle. 2. Their extreme instability makes them hard to predict. Geminis are one of the most unpredictable signs in the zodiac. Their thoughts, opinions, and emotions can shift rapidly, leaving people around them feeling like they're walking on eggshells. Story: I knew a Gemini who changed their major 3 times in college, their career twice in a year, and their favorite hobby every few months. Their adaptability was impressive, but their inconsistency made it hard for others to rely on them. 1. Gemini's playful nature can cross boundaries. Geminis love to play, joke, and test limits, but sometimes their sense of humor or teasing can go too far. They might push boundaries without realizing it, which can lead to misunderstandings or hurt feelings. Final thought: at the end of the day, Geminis are not truly hated, they are simply misunderstood. Their restless energy, sharp wit, and desire for constant change make them exciting, but also challenging to deal with. If you have a Gemini in your life, try to appreciate their strengths while setting boundaries where needed. Do you know a Gemini who fits these descriptions? Share your experiences in the comments below. Do you know a Gemini who fits these descriptions? Share your experiences in the comments below. Dizzy, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Join our growing community and let's explore more zodiac secrets together.